Hey, it is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. Staying on topic, we are going to zoom in and focus in really on how to work through successfully the setting up of pathological envy, jealousy, or even addiction to these extreme feelings. The body can become addicted to feelings of depression, anxiety, pathological envy, insecurity. The body can start to crave this experience. And unless you break the cycle, that cycle is going to proliferate and can turn, and in turn is going to be continue to be reinforced or rememorized or refacilitated in the body unless you really break the cycle. So I want to zoom in and focus in on that topic here in this video today. And before we get started, I want to give a huge shout out to those of you who have recently donated to the channel, Peace and Harmony, particularly our viewers in the Louisiana area, beautiful Louisiana, southern part of the United States, which is known for its very beautiful culture and landscape and people. And it's such an honor and privilege to be able to present material to you that can assist you with some of the relationship confusing or relationship dynamics. And I appreciate your viewership so much. And thank you so much for your recent contributions to the channel. It does keep me inspired to keep the content. And yes, absolutely, viewers, if you do want to donate, please do go ahead. You can definitely do that on the home button on our YouTube page here. So I want to zoom in and focus in a little bit more in depth, kind of keeping in tune with this topic here, and that is, how do you really move through a manipulative relationship when you can't really see above it? You are in the throes of essentially maybe an addiction. You are in the throes of what is like you're feeling very stuck. The feelings that this person has been elicited in you by this person is no longer comfortable. It is uncomfortable. It is causing dysfunction in your life. It's creating a lot of toxic negativity. It's creating a lot of hyper criticism or a lot of hyper arousal, which means, the hyper criticism, which just means very crippling self-doubt, crippling lethargy, crippling apathy, feeling like life is not worth it. I'm not worth it. I'm not happiness. Happiness is not meant for me. I'm never meant to experience family. I'm never meant to experience love. I can't experience joy, bliss, peace. I can't experience inspiration. I can't experience passion. This is, if you're feeling this way or have articulated this to yourself, then chances are, you are addicted. You've been set up or had reinforced in your body and in your mind and in your thought processes a very severe and extreme sort of really form of emotional manipulation and control by an emotionally manipulative individual, such as a malignant narcissist or a psychopath. Someone who wants to prey upon one's insecurity and drive in insecurity into your body, into your thought process, into your verbalization, into your emotional, muscular reactions, the somatic feelings, and also kind of the nerve centers that relate to the central nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, your motor neurons. Everything become very hardwired in these negative mindsets. So you have the feeling, I want to sleep all day, or I can't shower, or I don't really have much excitement or enthusiasm or passion for life, because these negative messages have been so ingrained by an emotional manipulator who wants to keep you down, oppressed, not speaking up, not in touch with your opinions, emotions, experience, perceptions, but wants to grind it down so that they don't have to see your personal growth, your happiness, the fact that you're of a certain talent. If they can grind you down to the point where you're controlled, either through withholding of information, the very black and white thinking where they never talk to you, they never give you affection, they never give you eye contact, they don't give you the time of day. These are the covert, malignant, psychopathic sort of emotional manipulation, which can become a set of addiction where you become so used to it that this chronic treatment becomes a mood, and mood over time becomes a temperament and a personality and then an identity. So as you can see through the years, through the days, the weeks, the months, which then turn into years, and then you're, reaffirming this within yourself. I feel so depressed. I am a horrible person. I doubt myself. I'm so ugly. I'm too short. I'm too fat. I'm too tall. I'm too thin. Whatever it is you want to say about yourself in the self-critical manner oftentimes is part of reinforcing or rememorizing this negative controlling manipulation from this person. So it's almost like they're passing the torch to you. They're saying, go ahead, continue, just let yourself, basically, go off the cliff here and really drive yourself, into a depression, drive yourself into anxiety, and they'll just say, you made a lot of wrong decisions, or, it's because they've put you into such a fog that you're not, your frontal cortex is not, you don't have the neurogenesis enough to be able to see clearly for your future. You're always trying to react against this individual, so you can't even kind of really get to your life purpose, your life choices, your life options. And this can become really an addiction. It becomes so reinforced, so embedded that really, if you then begin to change or begin to counteract that, or you start to feel joy, you might, quickly submerge it, because it would contradict your struggle. It would contradict your low self-esteem. It would contradict the controlled state with which you have been basically embedded in. You've been immersed in. You've been immersed in this through family members or through spousal relationships or whoever it is. It's just keeps. They're just going to keep doing it. That is how they manipulate. A lot of people just think, well, eventually they'll stop or they'll grow out of it. I mean, they will continue. I mean, you can bank on that. You can. You have to understand that is how rigid their personality is, and once they plan to scapegoat and do these things and make these awful decisions and treat people in this awful manner, it becomes like your reality, and then you think it's like your whole world, and you can't see the forest for the trees. You can't see the fact that there's good, loving, kind, compassionate, empathetic people. You can't even give yourself a chance to follow up on your inkling, your little voice, that sort of, leaving your house, going for like a walk, going to a workshop, going to a festival, going to a class, going to take care of your health or your spiritual life, or, some different shows or things that you might want to go and see. You don't follow up with those inspirations or those little sparks because, the negativity just tends to drown it out. And, then people don't follow up on their dreams. They don't chase their dreams. They don't know that they have dreams because it's so submerged, it's so drowned it out by this negative mindset or mirroring back of negativity into you in your life. And it's very important to see that is going to be a constant cause perhaps in one's life. They are going to perpetuate and continue and proliferate or even get worse in that manner. And so if you continue to listen in to those messages and begin to continue to allow that be part of your personality, your temperament, your mood, your decision making, then you're going to be rehearsing that negative message again and again and again. You're re-solidifying it in your body, in your mind, and then in your choices. And you're not going to allow the neurogenesis to take place in the prefrontal cortex, to get into that quantum field of energy where you become more energy and less matter, where you become basically living in that quantum field of energy, which is the solution, which is that spark. It's really the inner voice that's been trying to get your attention for so long, but you have submerged it. You've told yourself you always have to be stressed or depressed or anxious, or you can't do this, the I can't, the I'm nots. You've rehearsed this, you've said this again and again, and this is really part of the healing process, is realizing that had been put in motion and put in place by perhaps a malignant, controlling, emotionally manipulative, narcissistic, psychopathic individual. Let's not even worry about the labels. Let's just say this occurred. And then this created a feeling in your body, which then influenced a lot of your decisions and choices. And on a path that did not make you happy, wasn't in your best interest, didn't allow your true energy, your true talent, your happiness, your bliss, your passion to grow. So you become stuck. And people become, their identity becomes stuck, their body becomes stuck, their health becomes stuck, they become blocked. It's like the energy needs to begin to flow again. And so you need to realize that your body contains energy, your body contains electricity, your heart contains a lot of feeling and energy and motion. It drives a lot of the emotion that, your body then takes in through experiences. So you need to realize that just like you feed your body, you need to feed your emotional body and your spirit. You need to take in the positive sights, sounds, vibrations through all senses into your body. You need to take that in and oftentimes really re-memorize and validate and rehearse new feelings, emotions, and sounds and experiences and back yourself up going there. Get an emotional backbone that is strong enough so every time you start to back down and say, no, I can't have that, no, I can't do that, begin to say, you know what, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can have that. Maybe I can go there. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can get a calendar. Maybe I am important enough to have a calendar. Maybe I can have an emotional calendar. Maybe I can write down, and plan to be happy. People make comments here that they haven't felt happy in years. I mean, this is your life here, people. You need to make plans to be happy, to be peaceful, to be content, to have serenity. So if these are feeling states with which you've been deprived of, or your struggle, it would contradict your struggle, contradict your victim personality to stay stuck, then you need to say, okay, that I'm pushing aside. It is outside of me. I'm getting some distance. Now I'm going to allow myself to even just have peace. So your next step might be contentment, peace, calm, relaxation, and then moving to that, just to that little step in that right direction where you're separating, your emotional body from this, and then you're getting next to the step where, okay, maybe I can just feel peace. Maybe I can feel autonomy, self-governing, where you're just on your own. And then you can begin to, once you get to that peaceful state, you can then begin to say, okay, maybe I can feed myself some of the nourishment and emotional nourishment that I need on that next step, which mean, getting a little glimpse of happiness, getting yourself an ice cream cone, getting yourself a salad, getting yourself a really fresh hamburger, whatever it is that you eat, that you really love, a fresh Mediterranean lunch, for yourself. Go and take yourself on those recovery dates. Get the emotional calendar. Plug in the fact that you are going to be content, and then and calm, and then eventually build it up to things like happiness, from peace to gratitude to joy, and then slowly build it up to then fulfillment, and then passion and enthusiasm and joy and bliss. These are the higher vibrations of energy with which you can and deserve to exist and experience, even if it contradicts the negative messages that emotional, controlling, manipulative person had get you submerged in. You need to emerge from that feeling state and begin to re-emerge from it, meaning come out of it. Snap out of it, shake it off, whatever it is you need to do. Take a cold shower, just decide that is done. Make the decision and saying, you know what, this is speaking truth to me. I am now going to make it a point to give myself and feed myself experiences which are now going to give me more images, more sounds, more feelings, more sense, more sensations, which are healing, uplifting, enjoyable, and happy in nature. In other words, where you begin to smile. You begin to smile by yourself. And then eventually, as you begin to smile, then you can share a smile with others and do this without fear, without depression, without anxiety. And then as you continue to make decisions along this and accumulate some experiences on this, then you'll begin to be able to design your life and design experiences for yourself where you're surrounding yourself with people who can share a smile, share a hug, share a handshake, share a positive experience without belittling you, controlling you, emotionally manipulating you, telling you to look elsewhere, do something else, or violate your natural pattern and your natural energy. Give that to yourself. You need to feed this to yourself just as you need to feed your body water, air, nourishment, and vitamins and minerals. I mean, you need to feed your body these experiences in the same nutritive manner as which, for that socialization, as much as you do need the air, water, and food that you breathe and eat and ingest. You need to begin to take in these experiences for it to build up and build the security, and then begin to say, wow, you know what? I can be happy. I can experience happiness. I can experience joy. I can experience bliss and passion. My identity is not always all the the negative with which I've been told. I'm now designing and creating a new blueprint and template over here, which includes all these other feelings which I've hitherto deprived myself of while being under the guise and manipulation of a controlling, malignant, or psychopathic individual. It is peace and harmony with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.